Hey everybody, it's Rob here. The Campfire Chat yesterday has left many people in the community disappointed. Now, there's certainly some good changes coming to the class balance, and I really appreciate there not being a massive nerf to the Spiritborn. But there is a full lack of any new content, or even to some degree any excitement that makes me or also other people keep playing the game here for the mid-season update. Now keep in mind, Diablo 4 is basically a live service game, and I think in many cases they have good intentions and want to have a good player retention rate here, right? But this has not really happened with this update, I feel, and I want to show you something that they said here at the beginning of the year, where basically the same developers have given us, their kind of philosophy on these mid-season patch updates. Now, their philosophies may have changed, but I think it was some really cool concept designs here and philosophy that they had early on. Like a mid-season patch here, they defined it in January 2024, so this year, bring back favorite designs from previous seasons. Now, they have done this in past mid-season updates, but this season update is completely lacking it. Like, we had the Malignant Hearts come back, we had some of the vampiric powers from Season 2 come back as well, but it has not really happened right now here. These can be legendaries, uniques, or inserted into other ways, one per class. So we don't really have any new legendaries, we don't really have any new uniques coming. The only thing that we see is some rework or some bug fixes, and that's not really new content as far as, the community is concerned. And this can also be like old seasonal power themes that they could have bring back. And then they talked about the balance updates here. And this is definitely what's happening in the mid-season update. We have a small amount of balance updates compared to start of the season. So this is coming with various buffs to all the classes pretty much, including the Spiritborn. But what's not happening is that other game updates, at least not like they said. Now, we haven't seen the full patch notes yet, but there's basically no real game updates coming. Yes, they hinted towards the armory, but this is not coming in the mid-season patch, and this is maybe something that is more coming with Season 7. So they mentioned here monster systems, drop rates, etc. So I don't know, I made this video yesterday and I was hoping for maybe some of the boss ladder updates, some additional or easier ways to get mythics or have the uber bosses again. They could have done a lot of cool things here, I think, even for the mid-season patch. Then we have some buffs for each class. This is definitely happening. Bug fixes, this is also happening. And fix and nerfs that aren't bugs. So they are basically staying true to the philosophy here. But yeah, there's not really any new content here. And this is basically how it looked in their campfire chats here. They talked about the state and they talked about the changes for each class, which are appreciated, but frankly not really enough to shake up the meta. And I mean, shaking up the meta doesn't have to be we don't need every class to be as powerful as Spiritborn. But I think the buffs that they did were very much on the underwhelming side, at least from my opinion. I was just, for example, looking at the Barbarian buffs, and obviously we have to wait until, the full season patch notes, full mid-season patch notes are going to be here. But they pretty much buffed the core skills, which was necessary, but they also forgot the most important one, at least in this overview. We have no information what's going to happen at all with the whirlwind buff. So there's no buffs or any changes to that as far as it looks, and this goes throughout the board for all the classes. I think it's good that they buffed these underwhelming builds that people were not really playing in the first place. It would make no sense to buff Mighty Throw, for example, on the buff even more. So it's really cool to see those core skill buffs, but then this is not really much significance in the current matters, and nothing is really much influenced by it. And this goes pretty much throughout the board on all classes. I think in Season 7 we'll see this major rework for the Spiritborn, and then we'll really see where the class balance is at. And I really hope that we're gonna get the Spiritborn, which is pretty cool. This surprised me pretty positively, that we actually got buffs to some of the underused Spiritborn builds here, Toxic Skin and Razor Wings as well. Looking forward to try this. So there is some exciting stuff, but overall I think for the majority of the player base, this is basically not the case. It's not gonna bring any of the casual players back, and not those, and also the just returning events, pretty much not having any new Christmas event, but mostly bringing back a welcome booster and having some of these events basically make a comeback, but not really having anything fresh or anything like super exciting for people that play the game a lot, but also for people that have quit already. I don't think this brings them back. Like, okay, Mother's Blessing gives extra XP. We have the horror event that makes a comeback. We have a welcome back booster. I don't really think that this is gonna, convince that many people to come back. And you can really see this sentiment in the community, whether it is on the YouTube comments here on my videos, or even on other creator videos, on the forums, on Reddit. People are not really happy and are not hyped with the mid-season update. Now, I always try, to look at the positive things and just stay positive in my content, because I'm generally I'm a very positive person. I don't really like to spread the negative energy, but I also like to give criticism where criticism is due, and the expectations from my side and also in the community have obviously been a bit higher. Like, they wanted something, and it's also about expectation management. Like, if Blizzard is announcing a campfire chat, it's been announced everywhere, people are automatically having an expectation that there's just something new coming, not just some minor updates for the class balance and some bug fixes, but not really any new, not really any fresh content. And I might remind you again of some historical stuff. Like, we had some super cool seasonal themes that were super powerful. This is at the beginning of the season. But then even for the mid-season, you remember in Diablo 4 Season 2, we had entire new endgame content coming for the mid-season patch update, being very more true to what they stated here. Like, we had the Abattoir of Zir basically coming into the game in Season 2. And that was, I think, a big reason for people to at least come back and check out this new endgame. And this was the mid-season stuff. And I believe also the Gauntlet, they delayed this release so many times, but even the Gauntlet came somewhere in the mid-season. And obviously it wasn't well received, but at least they experimented, releasing new content in a live service game also for these mid-season patches that they themselves announce and make a kind of a big deal out of, right? And I really like this part. I think the game should have a very, very crazy big fresh update for the season, and then also a minor but still new content in the mid-season. And this seemed to have been their philosophy just at the beginning of the year. So I'm not really sure what changed with that. Now, there might be many reasons, right? The team is focused on other stuff maybe, but I think it's still not that cool to not have any fresh content pretty much. And also making a comeback, I think Season 7 needs to be huge, and I think having seasonal themes for real that actually add content and add power into the game, like we had in Season 2 with this progress system with these vampiric powers and stuff. And yeah, just also bringing back these seasonal themes into the game in some way in the mid-season patch, like they said. So I'm not really sure what changed there. I also see a lot of these bugs, and I also see this in the comments, falling through the cracks. They haven't really addressed any of these major bugs and exploits that are currently haunting the players. And in general, a lot of my expectation and wish list video have not really come true. Now, they're working on this long term, but they are kind of selling this as something super fresh or super new content, and it's mainly just a bunch of fixes to content that they have done or wrong done in the past, right? For example, an armory, to me this is not necessarily some fresh new content, because this is something that should have been in the game from the start. Now, I hope we're not gonna call the next season the season of the armory or the season of loadouts. So I really want some fresh, some extra new content, like they did in Season 2 with a complete new progression system of power for those seasonal themes. And if you remember the past, we had Season 4, we didn't really had any new power. It was just a Loot Reborn, which was cool, which was necessary, but there was still not really a seasonal theme. In Season 5, the seasonal theme was farming based, endgame content for the Infernal Hordes, which is also a cool mode, but again, still not really an extra progress way or way to make your character progression more exciting or more powerful. It's mainly just another way to farm the same loot that you're already getting. So I would really wish them going back to have season themes more like in Season 2, that they can then later on make part of the core game or bring back in those mid-season patches like they have done this in the past. So I think the current mid-season patch is quite underwhelming, and making a full campfire, you know, like for these bug fixes and class balance, which are important, like people just expected more, right? People just expected there to be like some new stuff. And I think they also even said it in the announcement that they're going to talk about some new content, and we didn't really get any of that. And I understand, you know, why people in the community here are not really so excited for the mid-season patch. Also, Path of Exile 2 is coming out right here in December. So there's a lot of reasons also to like check out other games always, and we'll see what's gonna happen. I'm definitely excited to play some Path of Exile 2 as well. I'll definitely play the Diablo 4 patches for sure, and I'm super excited. We have the real campfire, like many people in the community call it now, next week, where we're gonna learn about Season 7, the new theme, the new balance changes, and all that stuff. And we'll see what's gonna happen, guys. I'm gonna keep you updated, and obviously I'm still positive, you know, about the game. I just see, you know, like where the negative feedback and the negative things are coming in here from you guys and from the community. And I definitely agree there needs to be some changes or some going back on the mid-season patches, like back to how they did it, you know, a couple of seasons ago. It always feels with Diablo 4 right now, it's like 2 steps forward and then another step backward again. Then again, 2 steps forward and then another step backwards. This is with class balance. This is also with some of these philosophies here that seems to be changing, at least to some degree. So I'm just hoping for new content, and I have obviously like best interest here for the game in mind, and I really want to see, you know, us all having fun together, even in the mid-season patch. Hope you enjoyed, my friends. Take it easy. GG. Take care. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.